Hi guys, this is Jordy with Northern Homesteading. It's about 5 degrees below zero out here today, and that's a sharp dip from yesterday. Yesterday was in the mid to high 30s. It's been that way all week. And we had a horrible drop in temperature last night. It's that kind of drop in temperature is awful hard on the animals. It stresses them an awful lot. It can cause some trouble with them. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to deal with this scenario. Whether or not it's actually this cold, but just a dip this big in temperature period, you're talking a 40-degree temperature change in a day, day and a half. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips on how to deal with this and make it a lot easier for your animals.
Hi there, this is Jordy from Northern Homesteading, helping you to be successfully self-sufficient.
Alright, tip number one is that you got to make sure they get enough water. When it's this cold out in general, just when it's this freezing out, their water freezes real fast. If I give them water that's warm instead of cold, it's going to last a lot longer before it freezes over. And if I give them cold water, they don't really want to drink it because it's cold. If I give them warm water, that's like a treat. It's like getting a cup of hot coffee or nice hot cocoa on a cold day. It warms you right up. It makes them want to drink more. Plus, it warms them right up to warms their belly up, which honestly, just the difference of giving them warm water twice a day, it makes this kind of weather so much easier on them. So warm water. Another part is for their feed. Their feed, I store their feed outside, and you probably do too. Their feed is, well, it's air temperature. This feed is about -5 degrees Fahrenheit right now. That's freezing. If I take this hot water from the house and pour it over their feed, which is what I'm going to do here, I'm going to warm up their feed to it'll be about 80 degrees in the feed here after I pour the hot water in there. And that feed will soak up the water, soften up and loosen up, and make it a lot easier for them to digest at first. This is also a great tip to just get them to have more water in the first place. Animals tend not to want to drink a whole lot of water in the winter just because it's cold. Generally, your water you give them is cold. So we'll give them as much warm water as possible and offer warm water in their feed to help warm up the feed and to help them to drink more water. Come here, mister. Another thing I've done in here, come on out, buddy, is this is my pig shelter. Well, I've got the whole thing packed full of snow to help keep the weather out and the warmth in. Here, buddy. Yeah, you're gonna like that. And it makes a big difference. So I'll pack a lot of snow around the tops and sides of their shelter to make it more like an igloo. I also got to make sure that I give them enough straw. I'll give them a lot of extra straw to make a nice bed down in there. Windy. I'll give them a nice pile of extra straw in their shelters. Now let's come over here and see what Wilma's doing. Wilma. Wilma. Here you go, girl. Get that ice out of your bowl. Give you a little more water in here too. There you go. A little more warm. Warm right up. There you go, girl. Yeah, that's a good girl. So with Wilma's cage here too, with her shelter, I piled snow atop the whole thing and on the sides of it, just keeping the entrance open for her. That snow helps to really insulate things a lot. Burr. Hey guys, this is Jordy with Northern Homesteading. I'm out here during a pretty harsh cold snap this winter. It's about 5 degrees below zero on the Fahrenheit scale. And that's a sharp drop in temperature because for the past week and a half, we've been in the mid to high 30s out here. So we've got a pretty harsh drop in temperature. And it's a little hard on the animals out here too. So I'm going to go over some tips on how to handle this type of scenario to have a lot less stress with it on your animals. Burr. Hi, chickens. So with the chickens, I'm going to do the same thing. I've got their feed here. I'm going to soak it down in water to soften it up, make it easier to digest for them, and because it's going to warm up their feed with that warm water. Anything I can do to make their job easier. If I feed them warm feed that's already loosened up and soft, it's a lot easier for them to digest, and they don't have to expend much energy to digest it, which helps them take their energy and put it into heat production on days this cold. I'm also feeding my animals a higher calorie feed today. I'm feeding them a sweet feed instead of their standard feeds because it's got a higher sugar content and a higher corn content in it to give them more energy. Just give them more calories to build up that heat. Now if it gets real windy out tonight, I may come out with a spare bed sheet and drape it over the coop up here on the top of the chicken's cage. And what that's going to do is just cut down a lot on all the draft coming in and out of the coop. Now I know everybody says that you got to have a lot of ventilation in your chicken coop. You got to have good ventilation to keep the air dry. Well, if you haven't noticed, everything out here is frozen. That means it's pretty dry. Even in the coop, everything is totally frozen, so you can't have moisture buildup in there right now. What we don't want is too much draft blowing in and out. So just for a couple days, even maybe for a week tops, I might plug up most all the holes and close all the vents on my chicken coop and throw a bed sheet over top of the whole thing just to give it a little more insulation and to cut down on the draft to help them stay a little warmer while they're sleeping. Okay, now I'm out here with the rabbits. The rabbits are doing pretty good. You can see I don't have much of a fancy shelter setup for these rabbits, but they're a very hardy breed rabbit, and they're behind my house so it's out of the wind. These guys do great, but still with this sharp drop in temperature out here, I want to check on them and give them a little extra something just to help relieve the stress. Basically, that comes back to warm water. I can't stress that enough. Just giving them warm water instead of cold water from the just warm tap water makes such a big difference in this kind of weather, to especially these smaller animals. Now, 2 of these rabbits are pregnant, and if they get stressed out, they won't have a very good litter of bunnies. So I've got to limit their stress as much as possible. And the best way to do that in this kind of weather is just give them warm water. It makes a ridiculously huge difference. Oop, there goes that lid. Come on. There you go. Here you go, lady. There you go. You can have that now if you want. You probably do want it. Now, this cold weather is going to stick around for probably another week. I don't need to feed them a higher calorie feed technically. Technically, I didn't need to feed any of the animals a higher calorie feed. I just have to at least give them more of their standard feed. And then watch their behavior. If they look like they're getting too cold, I got to give them more food and possibly do something to help them warm up. Get them more out of the wind and out of the weather. Give them a little more insulation. I might even close up the entrance to their shelters. Like the pigs, I might close up the entrance to their shelters, make it a little smaller so there's less airflow coming in and out. That'll help them stay warmer while they're sleeping. But with the rabbits, basically all I need to do out here is give them warm water. It warms them up when they drink it, and they're going to drink more. When it's cold out like this, they need to take in more calories. They also need more water in their bodies to be able to digest all those extra calories. So giving them warm water encourages them to drink extra when it's cold anyways, and it makes a huge difference. It really does. Now, if these rabbits were out in the front and this kind of cold weather comes through, I would have brought them back somewhere out of the wind like they are right now. The snow's almost coming straight down back here. There's almost no wind. They're not getting any of the wind chill really that the pigs or the chickens get out front in their pens. And these guys do quite well back here. Howdy, howdy, howdy. All right, those are my tips for helping with your animals during an extreme cold snap like this, where we get a 30, 40, 45 degree sudden drop in temperature within a day or two. after about 3 or 4 days of this kind of weather, the animals will adjust and it's not so hard on them anymore. But the stressful part is that sharp drop in temperature, and then their body has to work to adjust to that new metabolism rate necessary to keep up with their body temperature. And that change period, that adjustment period, is what really stresses them out. And with like my pregnant bunnies here, that can cause them to have much smaller litters and possibly not even have their babies at all. It could cause them to pass their bunnies before they're even ready to come. Well, thanks for watching Northern Homesteading. I bet you're glad that I'm out here freezing and you're not. Well, if you like this video, go ahead and click that like button, and that'll help me know what kind of materials to keep getting out to you so I can continue to help all you guys. Thanks. Bye now.